Hey guys, in today's video, I'm taking the old heat shield from my downpipe and I'm actually using it to put around my turbocharger and the upper section of my downpipe to build this beautiful heat shield right here. Let's see if it works. Right here you can see the old heat shield I had from the old downpipe, and this is certainly a bit of a different shape from the downpipe I have now, but I'm going to do some modifications, hopefully see I can get that to work. And I also picked up for $7 or so, I got these cheap stainless steel zip ties that I can use, and hopefully that'll work to help hold the heat shield on. Now when it comes to heat control, I reason the most important places here are going to be inside the engine bay, particularly with the turbocharger and the upper portion of the downpipe, so that's where I'm going to see if I can apply my heat shield. The idea here is that if you can keep the underhood temperatures a bit lower, then you can basically, in a theoretical world, you can take in colder air and denser air, get more power, and also the main idea here is for longevity. A lot of the components in here are made out of plastic, got lots of wire looms and things of that sort. And then if I can reduce the maximum heat here, I can hopefully increase the life of a lot of these plastic components that really aren't designed to handle that much heat. To get things started, I measured out approximately how far I thought I needed to build the heat shield to go around my turbocharger. Started fitting it, and I just kind of squished it in place, and ultimately I started using a hammer to kind of get it to contour the shape of the turbine housing. I ended up using an old block of wood that I had just sitting around, and using it as kind of a bit of an anvil, it helped me kind of shape the aluminum to the shape that I wanted. With a little bit of working and a little bit of finagling, I was finally able to get this sort of a J-shaped heat shield, if you will, that fit just right around my turbo. After getting the shape all taken care of, the next thing I had to do was start using my metal zip ties to secure everything together. Just like you can with normal zip ties, I found that I could take a couple of them and stick them together to basically make a really long zip tie. I ended up using the zip ties that I had to secure the back part of the heat shield onto essentially the up pipes. That seemed to be a decent place to hold it. Unfortunately, this meant that the whole front section was just wedged in place. Kind of a neat trick I found is that I can actually kind of shape a bit of this sheet metal. So whenever you kind of bend it, it has a tendency to kind of crimp up like this. So I can take a pair of pliers and kind of squish that together, and then we can bend it over, squish it flat, grab my wooden block and a hammer, and I can finish flattening that out as well. A bit like that, and that's how I'm able to get somewhat of a nice bend on these without it looking too terrible, not having to cut it or anything like that. Seems to be working just alright. After quite a bit of hammering and all that, I was finally able to get that downpipe heat shield in there about how I want. You know, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I'm not necessarily going for looks, I'm going for performance at this point. Now it should be reasonably well wedged in place. Better than nothing. Alright, so I have a little bit of that heat shield left over that I'm going to use now on my exhaust manifolds. I don't have enough to do both exhaust manifolds, so I figured I'd at least do the one on the intake side, so I can hopefully help reduce heat over there. Start off with measuring this. Okay, now time to start shaping it. And that should do it. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. Okay, got that heat shield in place. Looks good to me. Okay, now this last little bit I have left over, you know, I've got it, might as well put it on. Put it on the other manifold, see how it goes. Bend it in shape. Alright, got that last heat shield in. You can see it kind of just goes around here, so you can cut off the excess, and we can go take this thing for a test bin. Alrighty y'all, so I went ahead, got my truck all warmed up, got it started and everything. And while I'm waiting for it to warm up a little bit more, I want to explain to y'all a little bit about what the theory is behind this whole turbocharger thing. So you saw me put on that heat shield around my turbocharger and around the lower portion of my downpipe. So certainly you can figure that if we can lower the heat that comes out of that turbocharger and out of the downpipe, then we can, in theory at least, reduce the temperature inside the engine bay. Maybe not a whole lot, but at least somewhat of an amount, and any little bit makes a difference. The idea behind that is certainly we can help our plastics last longer, we can take in colder air and potentially make more power, but the other thing is this can actually, in theory, increase the thermodynamic efficiency of the turbocharger. The way that works is you see turbochargers operate off of using hot gases, they operate on using high pressure. So when the air, I should say, comes right out of your engine, it's extremely hot. But a lot of that heat is actually lost inside the manifold and lost to the turbine housing. And that causes it to reduce pressure. That reduced pressure means that there's less actual energy that can go into the turbocharger turbine housing to, in turn, spin your compressor and add in more boost and all that. So by retaining the temperature, retaining the hot air inside of the turbine and inside of the, I guess, a lot of the other components in there before the turbo, I can increase the amount of power I get out of that, and in turn potentially increase boost and hopefully reduce turbo lag. But let's see if that works or not. Well guys, I finally got done installing that heat shield and everything on my truck. I went ahead and took it for a test spin, and I definitely didn't really notice any ginormous, huge difference or anything. Now maybe perhaps if I had some data loggers and temperature sensors, I might be able to see a difference. I didn't really notice any gigantic increase in turbo response or anything like that. Now I also recognize that I can do a lot better than this. Now originally my plan was to get exhaust wrap on, and I was going to wrap manifolds, up pipes, and put perhaps a turbo blanket around this as well, but well, budget's kind of limited, and I couldn't really justify spending $50 or so on just the wrap, and then maybe even another couple $100 on the turbo blanket. So I figured, at least in the meantime, this would do, so I could, at the very least, help with the longevity of my truck. And that's really something that we'll just see in the long term. You'll never really know if it helps out or not. You can't really compare whether it's something that didn't have the heat shield on it or not to see how well everything held up. But at least in theory, it should help everything out, help the components last longer, and hopefully, I had the stuff sitting around, so it really was no cost to me. Well guys, that pretty much does it for this video here today. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and if you liked it, click that like button, and also if you have any questions, just feel free to leave that in the comment box, and I'll see if I can answer those for y'all. In the meantime, y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching.